Okay, class, welcome to chapter 19. And I'm actually going to split chapter 19 into two separate videos. But let's get started. We're going to do question one of the homework for for chapter 19. And then in the next video, we'll do another question. Let me share my screen. I'm going to pull up the Excel document that I'll be using. And as usual, I'm going to be reading from my phone because I have the question here so that I don't toggle between screens. But it says, Barnes Company reports the following for its product for its first year of operations. It tells us direct materials, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, variable selling and admin expenses, fixed selling and admin expenses. And then the question says, compute total product cost per unit using absorption costing for the following production levels. So you see here I set up my table, which you will see when you go to do the question. So I know the various costs that I'm calculating are my direct materials, my direct labor. Remember, this is absorption costing. My variable overhead and my fixed overhead. Okay. So my direct materials, it tells me that they're $35 per unit. So I'm just going to put $35 for each. Doesn't matter the level of production, it says it's $35 per unit. Okay. So I know my direct materials. For my direct labor, it says that it's $25. So it doesn't matter how many units I produce, it's $25 for direct labor. So I'm going to put $25 here. And when I say $25, that's per hour, not to produce the whole amount. My variable overhead, it tells me that my variable overhead is $10 per unit produced. Okay, so I'm going to put $10 there. Pretty easy so far, right? Now the fixed overhead is where it gets tricky. So my fixed overhead, it's fixed. It doesn't matter how many units I produce. When I produce 2,000 units, it's $48,000 per year. When I produce 2,400 units, it's $48,000 per year. When I produce 3,000 units, it's $48,000 per year. So what I need to do in order to calculate the per unit cost is I'm going to take $48,000, which the question gives me, and I'm going to divide that by the number of units in the first column, which is 2,000. So I'm going to take 48,000, divide that by 2,000, and it's going to give me $24. So at $2,000, uh, at 2,000 units produced, I'm still going to incur $48,000 of fixed overhead, but my per unit cost is going to be 48,000 divided by 2,000 to give me the cost per unit. In At a $2,400 production level, it's going to be the same 48,000. However, now I'm producing more units. So I'm going to divide it by 2,400 and it's going to give me my per unit cost, which is $20. And then for the 3,000 production level, I'm going to divide it by 3,000 and that's going to give me my per unit cost. So you see here that the cost is fixed. And at higher levels of production, the per unit cost is less. All right, so I'm going to put 16 here. And then I'm going to get my total product cost per unit. And then I'm just going to add these numbers. So uh-oh, I'm not sure what happened there. Because the sum of these numbers. Okay, there we go. So at 2,000 units, my total product cost per unit is $94. And I'm going to add these ones. At $2,400 units, my total per unit cost is $90. And at 3,000 units, the total is, oops, I'm gonna add those, but I have to put this is $10 and this is 16. So my total is 86. So you see, the more units you produce, the per unit cost is less. And that's because you're producing more units for that fixed overhead cost. So you want to produce more units so that the per unit cost is less. So that's how you solve this question. If you have any questions or concerns about this or any of the other questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.